1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's cure of the what now?
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the what now?
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh!
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the what now?
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the what now?
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh, served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. Hello, fellow moviegoers, and welcome to episode 3 of
Cure of the what now? Yum.
the one show where we know you definitely want to have popcorn ready because what is a movie without snacks? I'm your host, Kat, and I'm like Karurun if Karurun were frozen.
Oh my gosh. A frozen, tasty Kururun treat to be enjoyed by all.
Oh my gosh, one of those messed up popsicles with the gumball eyes, but it's Karurun. I'm going to draw that.
Excellent. I'm your co-host, Joel, and much like Kokone, I used to wonder what friendship could be until Yui shared its magic with me.
It's cotton candy flavored.
Friendship?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Yui is pink and Kokone is blue.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. That
All
could
right.
also be considered unicorn flavored, but I don't know who decided unicorns were pink and blue. That's always seemed like a weird choice to me.
I agree.
So, quick announcement. This episode is going to be kind of weird. I bet you all didn't notice. I bet you all noticed we didn't record last week. That's because we were in another part of the state. But we're here now. We're going to record last week's episode and this week's episode all kind of squished up. So it's going to come out in 2 parts.
Absolutely. So, in total, episode 3, parts A and parts 2 will be covering Delicious Party PreCure episodes 4 and 5. I think those are the right episode numbers. And then we are also covering Max Heart 3. Spoiler alert, we won't have a whole lot to say on it, sorry. We'll be covering the Tropical Rouge movie. I believe it's called, The Snowy Kingdom, The Frozen Princess, something like that. The one where they cross over with the Heartcatch girls. And we'll also be reviewing 4 episodes of Sweet PreCure. That's episodes 5 through 8. That's the total episode 3 of Cure of the What Now. Cure of the What Now? Yum. But this half of the episode, we'll be focusing on Delicious Party PreCure and that aforementioned Tropical Rouge movie.
Which is called Tropical Rouge, PreCure the Movie, The Snow Princess, and the Miraculous Ring.
All right, I knew the first word in the Japanese subtitle was Yuki for snow, but I couldn't remember what was after that. The Miraculous Ring, that makes sense.
Yes. So, lead me off with a discussion question.
All right.
Wait. We're doing a parts A and a part square. Are we going to have a discussion question in both parts or just this one?
I think in just this one.
Okay, lead me off.
Okay, so I realized that some of my ideas are very similar to other seasons that we've had in PreCure, so I'm going to put this blanket statement out there. I'm comfortable potentially recycling ideas from other PreCure seasons if there's a little bit of a twist on them or there's some kind of a caveat. So, we've already had Maho, which is, about girls who do witch magic type stuff. In a similar vein, what if we had a PreCure season where the girls, the Cures, were into stage magic instead of wand magic?
I love that so much. You could have one of your ongoing themes be imagination.
Absolutely.
And believing.
Okay, yeah, I really like that. Are there different types of magic tricks, do you think? I guess Now You See Me kind of did that. So we could have one girl who's the hypnotist or the clairvoyant, the psychic, and we could have another girl who's the escape artist or something like that.
You've got illusions, you've got misdirection, you've got escape. There are so many. Okay, so when I was young, somebody said something about, haha, boys who do magic tricks are nerds. No woman is attracted to that. And I looked around and went, I'm attracted to that. And to this day, any man who shows me a magic trick, I'm like, wow, you're handsome.
Absolutely. Now, Kat, is this your card?
Oh my goodness, it is. This is getting too spicy for the podcast.
Hey guys, that was also my card too. I'm here. Hey Pete, thanks for joining us.
Pete, what's your favorite magic trick?
I think sawing someone in half is a pretty cool thing. Could you imagine if a PreCure character had an attack that did that, where they, temporarily split the bad guy in half, and the bad guy's like, oh no, my feet! But then, they were okay.
I love that. What if your magician PreCure girls have a hat. This is the buy our toys toy.
Okay.
And they can reach into the hat during fights and pull out something.
Oh my god.
And the level of their belief in themselves in that moment determines the strength of the thing they pull out.
Oh, okay. No, I really like that. So I like going with creativity and imagination as something to build up in PreCure, but I do wonder if that would feel a little bit too similar to Star Twinkle. But I like the kind of the sub theme of like being confident in yourself as like something that also unites all the different girls. I think one of their final attacks, I don't know if it would be an individual final attack or one of the group final attacks, but it would summon a bunch of mirrors and lights would bounce around and stuff like that, and it would look like there were multiple
that's so cool. You could have your shield cure have the mirrors.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be like her attack and her defense. I'm thinking this season would be a 2 cure season.
Okay.
With maybe a bonus third at the end.
The bonus cure could be like their assistant that shows up partway through the season.
Right. So see, I was thinking you've got the Pink, right? The Genki energy. She loves stage magic. She's the big magician. And then you've got the Blue, who's a little bit more subdued, and Pink pulls her into this world and she ends up being the assistant.
Okay, I like that.
But, like, the bonus cure could be the rabbit that they've been pulling out of their hat this whole time, the fairy turned cure.
I like that. The fairy could be, like, a mythical creature, like it could be, like, a Pegasus or a Griffin or something like that as well.
Beautiful. What do you envision the villains of a season about belief being? Are they all atheists?
Wow, okay.
I'm not calling anyone out. My husband is an atheist. I just think it's funny that...
Yeah. There's certain stereotypes that exist that would kind of be funny to play off of in this segment. But, yeah, I guess they would be a little bit like... I think they'd be a bit like the bad guys in Smile, insofar as, like, they wouldn't really believe in dreams. Like, they'd be, like, people who tried to achieve something and failed. And now they think that... Why should anyone bother trying? Everyone's just going to end up unhappy anyways.
Oh no. Every villain team we come up with is just gonna be boomers. It's true that your life experiences shape your art in a way.
So I think that about wraps it up. So would you rather start with Delicious Party or do you want to start with the movie?
I am so glad you asked. I think we should start with the movie because I'm really excited to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Give me a sweet, succinct summary of this movie. Would you like me to do it?
No. So the Tropical Girls are fighting Yarn Daw on like a beach or something, and then some snow fairy type things show up. I think they're called like Hogans or something. They're like H-O something. I can't remember the rest. These spirits show up and invite the PreCure to a country that Minori has never heard of. And Manatsu's excited because she's never seen snow. And Songo's like, maybe they'll be dressed really beautifully and that sort of thing. So they get really excited and they go and they run into 4 other girls who, if you've seen Heartcatch, you are familiar with. It's Yuri and Erika and Sabomi and Itsuki.
You did it!
I actually almost for a second forgot Itsuki's name.
I was prepared to give you a shiny dollar for remembering Itsuki's name.
I can use that to buy mini gumballs. Okay. So they show up, they become friends with each other. Laura kind of hits it off with the princess of this nation, and she talks about how she wants to be a great king, or a great queen, a great leader like her parents, but we haven't seen the parents. And there's something about this that seems off to Yuri, and I think also Minori's kind of tapping her chin, being like, is something weird here? It turns out that this nation got wiped out by a comet like 50,000 years ago or something, and they're all gone, and this other princess girl is like the last survivor, and the meteorite that destroyed her people also gave her magic powers, so she's going to create an evil empire, and the girls have to all team up in order to stop her. There's a momentary bit of confusion where Laura protects the evil princess from an attack from Erika and Sabomi, and or Marine and Blossom, because they're transformed at this point. But in the end, they help this girl realize that vengeance is not the way, and Laura promises to remember the song that she was taught in order to preserve the memory of this once great nation.
And the movie ends with the song going viral.
Basically, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, usually I would ask, did you like this movie? But instead, what I'm going to ask is, what did you like about this movie?
Erika is back.
Erika is back, and she retained the growth that she went through in the Heartcatch series.
Yes, absolutely. So, for anyone who's new to the show, Heartcatch is one of our favorite seasons. It's, I believe, one of the most popular seasons as well overall. And Erika is easily one of my top 5 Kiers. I think off the top of my head, I would say she's number 2. But anyways, she's a great character, and she and Laura, like as soon as Laura showed up in Tropical Rouge, you and I both went, oh, this is kind of an Erika type. Not exactly the same, but kind of similar. And so when we found out they were both going to be in this movie, we knew they were going to interact, and they did. It was great. It was awesome.
It was very cool, and it was very much like the mentor being like, I was where you were before, and I'm better now.
Absolutely.
Listen, I saw Erika for the first time in one of the movies we watched related to Go Princess PreCure.
Yeah, I think it was the crossover, the All-Stars movie.
And I saw her and I went, that is a creature. That is a goblin. I need to watch that season. And I did, and she was everything I imagined.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed their outfits. I think that you commented that Asuka's was your favorite. James, that one welder guy who's in our Discord server who watched it with us, he really enjoyed Manatsu's overall looks. I commented that I think she stole that from Hikaru, because it really did look very similar to her outfit from Star Twinkle.
I think more pinks should wear overalls.
Okay.
It just seems like such a fitting, because like, when I think about overalls, I think you're too busy to keep your pants on yourself, so you need straps for them.
Okay. I was about to say that it feels like something that maybe like the inventor slash brainy one should have, because then you could have like the utility belt with all the different things in it, but maybe they just need a utility belt or a fanny pack as opposed to...
They need the Kim Possible cargo pants.
Also, one of our favorite things, you and I, we really enjoyed the butt punch from Heartcatch, which is a move that Blossom has used like once or twice that I remember. Maybe it's more common than that, but it's just so silly. And in this movie, we get a double butt punch. I believe that it's Marine and Lemaire doing it together. And then we get let's all do it, and it's a group butt punch attack, and they create like a rainbow flower. And I just gotta say, I never would have imagined that you could have made Papaya or Moonlight or Lemaire do a butt attack like that. But it was pretty cool.
It was incredible. I was so happy to see. We saw the PreCure butt punch. We saw the fairies turn into capes. I love the Heartcatch characters, and that's one of my favorite things about PreCure as a franchise, is that you get these movies where they bring back your characters, and it doesn't even matter if the movie is good. It's got my favorite character in it.
Yes, so we want to focus on the positive on the show.
Really quick, one other thing I really enjoyed. They were called Huang, the little snow fairies.
Yes, they were adorable.
They were like snow Kururuns.
Yes, absolutely. I will say we try to focus on the positives on the show, but at the same time, I feel like it would be incomplete without mentioning things that we didn't really like. So, for example, I don't feel as though they did a good enough job showing how the Ice Princess could both be this kind-hearted person who really cares about, like, Laura and stuff, but also is willing to, like, enslave people in order to recreate her kingdom. So in that sense, the action of this movie was not great. I mean, there were a couple of shots that were pretty good, but I guess overall story was a little lacking. But what they made up for was the jokes and the character interactions. The Tropical Rouge girls transform first and fight off some of these ice monsters, but they're like regenerating ice monsters, so they just come back and they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? And Erika goes, it's our time to shine! And the camera zooms up, and all 4 of the Heartcatch girls have gone to the top of this, tower, like if you've seen pictures of like Moscow and Russia, on top of one of those things. And Sabomi goes, Erika, we didn't have to come all the way up here. And she goes, the more dramatic the entrance, the greater the hero you are, before they also transform. And that was so good.
It's so good. Erika is like the perfect combination of a Laura type and a Manatsu type.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
She's got the Manatsu energy, but she's got the Laura spirit. All eyes on her.
The Holy Trinity, the Erika, the Laura, and the Kururu. He combined them together. At one point, some of the girls get captured, and they're inside of a cell. And some of the girls have not been captured and come to their rescue, and they're both trying to, open the door from both the inside and the outside, and they can't figure it out. And Kururu figures out that it actually slides, and that was brilliant. We all knew that there was going to be a really simple solution as soon as we saw the setup, but I don't think anyone would have guessed, oh, it actually slides even though it looks like it's a push-pull door.
Absolutely. So yeah, overall, I thought that the plot of this movie was not great. The writing was a little shaky, and there were definitely places where they did, freeze frames instead of animation.
Okay.
But I loved seeing my Heartcatch girls again, so the fan service made it worth it.
Absolutely, 100%.
If you haven't seen Heartcatch, I don't think you'll have as good of a time with this movie.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, James, that one welder guy, I don't think he's seen it. And there was a part with Yuri, and he was just kind of like, what? Who is Yuri? And it's like, Yuri's just a ninja. Don't worry about it. She can basically do anything. I think it was like a snowball fight, and she was ninja dodging around them, and she wasn't getting hit by a single one. It's like, yeah, that's Yuri.
That's just how she is. Don't worry about it, James. Absolutely. Do you have any other thoughts you want to share before we move on to Deli Party?
No, I don't think so.
Deli Party. That makes it sound like it's a PreCure about salami. Write that down for next week.
It kind of sounds like you took the Pokemon Delibird, but instead of, it's the evolved form, and he throws parties.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So now we go on to Delicious Party. I just checked, and yes, we will be covering Delicious Party 4 and 5. In my brain, I don't remember which number of Delicious Party we just watched, because I just remember we're covering this week's episode, but Delicious Party 4. It is about that new girl, Kokone, that we met in the last episode. First name Kokone, last name Fuwa. Kat really likes to call her Fuwa. I really like to call her Kokone. Eventually, the podcast might settle on one of the two names.
One or two.
One or two or three of the two available names.
You say Fuwa, I say Kokone. Let's call the whole thing off.
So in Delicious Party, episode 4, Yui is trying to get close to Kokone, and basically is like, hey, you want to hang out? You want to go to a restaurant together? And Kokone is a bit of a loner, kind of by choice. She has a bit of social anxiety, it seems like, although she doesn't call it that exactly, but she has a hard time making friends. But Yui is so bright and positive and energetic that Kokone is like, you know what? I'm going to become this girl's friend.
I'm going to become this girlfriend.
Yes, they quickly become friends, and Kokone decides that she wants to help when the recipe gets stolen because she can see the recipe as well. She noticed in the last episode that Yui disappeared behind this rainbow shimmer thing, and so she runs in, and with the help of Pam Pam, she's able to go in there, and even though Mary Chan, is not able to explain what a PreCure is, Pam Pam is. Pam Pam's like, by the way, here's what's going on, and Mary's like, why did you tell her that? Kokone transforms into Cure Spicy. She has the power of spicy bread, and what is it? Oh no, it's a dainty sandwich with a spicy flavor, I think.
With a peppery.
Yeah. And she's cool. She defeats the bad guy, and that's the end of episode 4. Do you want me to also summarize 5 and we just talk about them? Okay. Episode 5 is basically Yui and Mary trying to get closer to Kokone. Mary feels like Kokone is kind of avoiding eye contact and doesn't really talk to him that much, but we see the story from Kokone's perspective, and it's just that she's nervous and she's trying to find the right words, and when she tries to call Yui by her first name, she goes, you, and she kind of wimps out a little bit. She tells them about makeup because she is this season's fashionable one, and she feels like she kind of info dumps on them, even though both of them thank her profusely for their input. She's feeling awkward. She feels like she doesn't know how to do anything. She doesn't know how to slice carrots. But eventually they're all like, nah, man, we're your friends and we're here to support you. And she goes, great, I believe in myself. And then they're able to defeat the bad guy. So basically, these two episodes together are the Yui Power Hour. Or no, it's the Kokone Power Hour, and we are here for it.
And Pam Pam imprinted on Fuwa like a baby goose. Do you remember what went down with that? All I can remember is her being like, I want to get to know her better.
Yeah, in episode 3, when they were looking for Kome Kome, Pam Pam came around a corner and just saw her and was like, oh my gosh. So it kind of feels like there's like a pre-destiny thing, like they were meant to meet each other, but once they got to know each other, they touched the heartbeats and they resonated with each other. But I don't know why, just at first, she was like, who is that mysterious blue-haired girl?
Okay, fair enough. Did any moment from these two episodes stand out to you?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. My favorite is at the beginning of episode 5, Kokone is kind of following behind Yui, and she's talking to Yusuke Urameshi from the Yu Yu Hakusho show, and Yui suddenly like turns around and goes, oh, Kokone! And the camera zooms in on Kokone, and it's just it's her name, and Hiragana like scrolling across the screen, and her heartbeat, and the narrator's like, she liked being called by her first name, because in Japan, you typically refer to your peers by their last name, but once you become close friends, you might use their first name. Yui's being very friendly and very forward, and that resonates with Kokone.
So cute.
And then they do it again with Mary-chan. Mary goes, oh, hello, Kokone. Kokone.
Kokone is so sweet. I'm glad that she found a way to become friends. A question... Not really a question, but a thought that has occurred to me and continued to occur to me during these episodes is how old is Mari? Because I get the impression that they're like 16. And if Mari is 16, hanging out with these like 13, 14-year-old girls, that's fine by me personally. If Mari's like 25... That's weird. That's a little weird. I think that it would be normal for Kokone to be nervous around you.
He definitely has the build of someone who is older, but these things are very fluid in anime a lot.
Right, and I tried to check the wiki, and there wasn't a clear answer. It feels odd to me, and I don't think I'm going to get over that odd feeling. So anytime there's a joke about, like, these girls aren't comfortable around me, my go-to thought is always going to be like, I know, Rosemary. That's because you should be hanging out with people your own age.
He's an odd duck who moves at his own pace through society. The episode 4, when Yui and Kokone are having their meeting, Yui has that, the grandma who has the magical power to always have a quote that's relevant to any situation. It's kind of like if you've ever watched Fruits Basket.
Toru's mom.
Toru and her mom have a memory or a saying or a relatable story for all 13 members of the Zodiac. She can personally resonate with all of them. And then that's just like, that's incredible. Naruto as well. He and Gaara had a really close, like, oh, I'm just like you. And he and Neji had a, I'm just like you. And he and Rock Lee had a, I'm just like you. But the quote of the day that mixes real-world knowledge with cooking, or I guess, what am I trying to say? A more general knowledge with cooking. My grandma said mixing is the tip for both soup and people's power. You heard that here, folks. People are just like ingredients in soup. You just gotta mix them.
You just gotta mix them, and it makes their power stronger. I am glad that Yui's grandmother is pro-integration.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like that. I like that a lot.
We should all be so progressive.
Absolutely. I've got a longer quote here, and sometimes, peek behind the curtains, sometimes Kat will be like, you don't have to read the whole quote, but I really like this one, and I don't want to get the words wrong, so it's a little long, and I apologize. In episode 5, Kokone explains, for me, being alone was comfy. I liked my quiet alone time. Relationships were bothersome, so edgy, and made me so tired. But when I'm with her, I feel something warm in my heart. A desire I've never had is growing. We can do anything when we join hands.
So subtext. This is
for
more
cowards.
like just text,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, that's all I have to say on that. I'm really interested to see how their relationship will grow, and I'm interested to see how the introduction of a third member of their team will change the dynamic.
Absolutely.
And can you imagine if the third cure is like, man, I gotta get me a girlfriend, and then she sees Gentle, and she's like, you and I, baby.
94% match and only cures can date other cures, so we're gonna give you a transformation sequence and we can totally become the hottest couple in I can't remember what the town is.
Every time she sees Gentle, she's like, hey baby, and Gentle's like, don't talk to me like you know me.
Who are you, random girl? Oh, I really like that. Because we didn't record an episode for episode 4 standalone, we didn't get to do the prediction. What do you think this next episode is going to be about? But episode 5 was titled something like Growing Desire.
Growing Desire, the birth of Cure Spicy.
Yeah. And like, listen, there's certain words that like have certain connotations. Like in English, you could say that you like something, or you can say that you want something, or you could say that you desire something. And like those words kind of are similar, but some of those words have a more romantic subtext. Maybe in Japan, you know, the word for like strong feelings or the word for passion are kind of interchangeable. Maybe it doesn't have the right connotation. But anyway, I have to ship Yui and
you have no choice.
Kokone. It seems like it's preordained pretty much.
Yeah, like that's what they want you to do. You just have to.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to take a moment to appreciate the way we meet Kokone Fuwa.
Yeah.
Kokone Fuwa.
Yes.
We've talked before, especially in the context of talking about JoJo's, how a character's introduction, the first couple of things you see of them, is a great opportunity to tell the audience who that character is and what you can expect from them. And one of the things from this introductory set of episodes for Kokone is she rescues a baby rabbit. She goes outside to visit the rabbits, and she notices there's a hole. And from there, we see her trying to, like, pull this heavy thing, and Yui comes and helps her, and turns out there was a baby rabbit stuck behind it. And she goes, yeah, I noticed it was missing, and I had to rescue it. So she is a girl who is not comfortable around people, but she's very kind to animals.
Yes, absolutely.
And I like that. I'm excited to see more of her as a character. I think that her arc is probably going to be centered around finding her voice. If she gets one.
Yeah, absolutely. It all just depends on how they shake it out. I would say that, you know, we could have gotten way more character development for Song and Asuka in Tropical Rouge, for example. But if they give Kokone enough time in the spotlight, I think she could be a really wonderful character. I do enjoy it. Also, I do want to say, when I was reading that quote, I said something about, like, so edgy. I totally get that there are people who have social anxiety or have a hard time making friends, so they want to be liked, but maybe they aren't. I'm not trying to make fun of that. It's just something about when I was reading it, detached of, like, the voice acting, it felt really like all people are bothersome. Maybe she does have social anxiety. Maybe when she was younger, her rich, you know, her wealthy upbringing caused her to feel distanced from the lower class peons in her grade school or something. But I would like a little bit more of an explanation. If it's just, I don't really like people, that comes across as a little bit kind of like an emo teen who's a little bit centered on their feeling of isolation. But if it's more like every time she's tried to make friends, it's backfired, that feels more relatable to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Joel?
Yes.
I'm looking at our notepad.
Yeah. For
this episode, and I see under quick notes a single word with an exclamation mark.
Uh-huh.
And that word is rectangles.
Woo, 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 woo. Okay.
Would you care to elaborate?
So, the last, for all episodes of Delicious Party, what we've had to do, Kat and I, is we watch the episode together, we enjoy it, we go, oh yes, very good, that's some brightly colored girls, but then in order to get the screenshots that I use for the sticker sheet, sometimes I take them while watching, but for Delicious Party, I've just been going back and rewatching the episode, which means I also let the ending play just so I can kind of like listen to it and appreciate it. And there's a specific dance that Kokone does. I guess she's technically Spicy. It's the same person, you know what I mean. But she does a little, like, rectangle dance. And because this is an audio medium, and I don't have I don't have faith in my ability to communicate ideas with just words off the top of my head. It's definitely going in the thumbnail for this episode.
Front and center. It'll be just blown up.
Absolutely. I saw this and I really enjoyed it. And I texted Kat while she was at work because I was doing this during my lunch break or whatever. And I go, Kokone Fuwa does a rectangle dance in the ending. And she texted back like, what are you talking about? So she came over and I played it for her. I'm like, rectangle! And she's like, okay. Like I was delirious with a fever or something. And now every time we watch the episode and we get to the ending, I wait to that part and I go, rectangle!
I think the best part is you've infected James, too.
Yes!
We got a message on Discord from that one welder guy that was, Joel, you were right. The rectangle is incredible.
Well, and at one point, he floated the theory that maybe the rectangle helps keep the impure thoughts at bay.
Like it's an OCD ritual.
Yeah, or like the evil eye, right, which is supposed to work. So Kokone Fuwa does the rectangle in order to keep
impure thoughts. Anytime she looks at Yui, rectangle. That's better.
Here's the thing. Sometimes the thing that we're discussing right now is the thing that I'm going to be talking about on the podcast.
Thank you, Perd.
You're welcome. Have you heard? The thing, sometimes when you watch something, there's like one specific line or one specific scene or one specific shot that really resonates with you, and maybe you lack the words to describe why it's so good. Keep that idea in mind because I have an idea for a thing. It'll look out for news in the future. But I wasn't sure if this little moment in the dance was something that I was going to fixate on, like a crazy person, or if this was something that was going to resonate with other fans. But I've seen multiple things on Twitter of people just cropping the rectangle or drawing it or that sort of thing. So, all right. The cult of Kururun has been abandoned in favor of the cult of rectangles.
Oh man, I had a really good bit about your culty ways.
A man can wear multiple robes, my dear wife.
Oh no. I'm worried about your constant seeking of validation through the formation of cults. A couple more notes. Mari is so mean to Pam Pam.
I love it so much. So in the first episode we met Pam Pam. Pam Pam's kind of haughty and kind of like, oh yeah, I know everything and I'm older than Kome. And she kind of comes off as a little condescending, but she's mostly friendly, but you know, maybe that personality will come out in some places. But in episode 4, Mary just keeps grabbing her cheeks and pulling on them in order to like stretch out her face and like obviously don't do that sort of stuff to like real life dogs, but because it's a cartoon, it's hilarious. I love it.
It reminds me of Nami yelling at Luffy.
Yes.
In One Piece.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So Ran makes her daily allotted appearance in episode 5 as she is eating veggie soup. And as she takes a bite, what she says is, ooh, the sumptuous veggies are doing hip-hop in my mouth.
That is what she says,
I screenshot just the caption of that and posted it in the Discord. I'm like, this is cracking me up. And then I hit play, and it continues, and I didn't write down the rest of the quote, but she goes, no, is it more like improvised jazz? No, it's a folksy waltz. Rain, you are so weird, and I can't wait until we meet you.
I think she and Yui are just gonna go nuts. Like, they're gonna circle each other, making goblin sounds, doing the Spider-Man point, and Kokone is just gonna be looking around like, what is happening? What are these creatures?
I hope that Kokone and Mary are the two that keep the goblins in check. And if there's ever an episode where they get separated, you would basically have, like, Camp Brains and Camp Goblins.
Imagine them like marching in a circle together, being like, Yui, Ram, Yui, Ram. And they're just circling around Kokone and Mari. And Mari's like, don't move, Kokone. They can't see you if you don't move.
Oh my goodness gracious. 2 quick notes I forgot to mention. I don't really care to discuss them, but they might be important in the future. The bad guys have figured out that if you capture multiple recipes, the
thing is stronger.
The thing is stronger. That's why they needed to use 2 cures in order to defeat the last 2 episodes. I really wonder if they're going to have an episode where they just absorb like 1,000 recipes. I hope not, because in my sticker sheets, I've been individually collecting each one that shows up. So
that's too much pee-pee for one man.
Get out.
It's my podcast. You get out.
It is your podcast, absolutely. And the other thing, really quick note, like I said, when Yui got her glass, and because it's in the ending, Mary, it does seem to I think that each girl who becomes a PreCure is going to have an episode with Mary-chan, and Mary will give them the glass, and that'll eventually become the team attack, or whatever.
Maybe Ram will finally be the one to be like, you're a grown man hanging out with middle school girls, that's weird, and will reject Mari's friendship at first, but then they'll bond over how much they both love food, and then she will be extended the glass of friendship.
Okay, yeah. I feel like... I don't know, I have a general sense of Ram's, like, surface-level personality. She's kind of a ditz, in a sense. That's not an offensive word, right?
She's a Genki girl.
Yeah. Well, no, but, like, I mean, like, a little empty-headed. Like, there's an episode where we see the school president, and we should talk about that, or the student council president, and it shows Yusuke, and he's yawning, which I guess shows that he's a sleepy boy? I don't know what that means for his character. He's bored at school. But then it shows Ram, and she's just sitting there being like, I wonder what I'm going to have for lunch. So, like, she seems like head empty even more so than Yui.
I wonder if she's kind of a Sailor Moon reference. Because the main character, Usagi, in Sailor Moon, she's got the two buns, which... Ram's cure form has in the opening, and she's also really excited about food and kind of empty-headed.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that could work. So I'm excited to see where she shows up, but I guess what I'm saying is I don't know if I can theorize what her conflict with Mary is going to be, because so far the two glasses have been awarded after a sort of breakup, and then a sort of like, oh, she doesn't like me, oh, I don't know what to say to him, but then they resonate.
I do like you, actually. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Do we want to get into the student council president now, or do we want to save that for predictions for the future?
We'll save that for Crack Theory's predictions for the future. I have one more quote that I wrote down. This makes me laugh so hard. So, Kokone, because she is embarrassed by her inability to slice carrots properly and how she info-dumped about the makeup and stuff, she's kind of in a weird headspace, which causes her to become reckless in the PreCure battle, which... I wasn't, like, I guess she was trying to make up for it. Like, if I can't be their friends, at least I can be, like, the one who punches the bad guys. But she gets her butt handed to her, because that's not really how the PreCure works. And Yui kind of reassures her, and Kokone's like, are you sure? And Yui goes, yeah. And it's as they say, failure is the mother of salami. And Mary and Kokone go, what? What are you talking about?
Father of success?
Gentlu, who they evaded Gentlu by, like, hiding behind a rock or whatever, and she says, failure is the father of success. That's what you meant
idiots.
to say. Yeah, you gosh dang. God, Yui, please. In episode 2, oh god, they're all starting to blend together. In one of the episodes, Yui actually came up with a surprisingly, like, good plan at one point, and so you and I realized, like, oh, is she not completely empty-headed? But this shows that in some cases, she's still empty-headed.
Do you remember the very funny joke with CL that she didn't know sayings?
Yes.
It's that.
Oh, yeah.
Except it made sense from CL because CL didn't speak Japanese very well.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
but I do love that joke.
They did kind of have that with Nagisa and Honoka in Futari Wa as well, where Nagisa would forget sayings because she'd used the wrong word or something like that.
One of my ongoing jokes that is not a joke that comes up between me and my father is now we're cooking with gas versus now we're cooking with fire. And I have always insisted the saying is, now we're cooking with fire. And my dad has always said, well, that doesn't make sense because what else would you cook with? Gas was a new invention. We were cooking with fire. Now we're cooking with gas. And I have maintained that my version is correct, even knowing it's probably not, because that's just the bit at this point. But also it's like, now we're cooking with fire. Before we were just afraid of fire, but now we're cooking with it.
Oh, okay.
So I feel for Yui and CL and the other bad at sayings people of the world.
Yeah, I've absolutely messed up sayings on this podcast where I'll say, I'll say something like, failure is the father of existentialism. And then I'll kind of pause and I'll go, that's not quite right, but I don't remember what the real one is.
What are the basic tastes?
Fire, water, earth, wind, and edamame.
Beautiful. Unfortunately, that can't be our final thought because we have some more thoughts to think.
Absolutely. So, because we're splitting this episode up into 2 parts, I think maybe we can do looking ahead and predictions as well as thoughts from the crew regarding these specific episodes. They're not thoughts from the crew. They're delicious bites.
I was thinking the same thing. Would you call them sound bites? James had a couple of thoughts about... where'd it go? There it is, about Delicious Party, episode 4 and 5. Really enjoyed Delicious 4. Kokone learning that you don't have to be alone. It's good to have friends. Also, her transformation is amazing, and Pam Pam and Komekome are cute.
Absolutely.
James liked that Pam Pam turned into a sandwich. How do you feel about Pam Pam being a sandwich?
Pam Pam doesn't look as edible as the other 2 energy fairies, you know? So, sorry, I just had a thought related to looking ahead.
Oh dear.
I really apologize. That sound was strangely sexual, but it wasn't supposed to be. It was just like a sudden realization.
Oh man, I wish this wasn't an audio only format. Your face is all pink right now. Like, I made a sound. I'm just a little man, don't look at me.
But I don't know. I look at Komekome and I'd be like, that would be soft and fluffy if I popped Komekome in my mouth. And you can see the 3rd energy fairy whose name I've forgotten. Don't tell me what it is. It's fine. But they kind of look like they're edible as well. But Pam Pam just looks like a dog, and I don't want to put a dog in my mouth.
No, but I did have a realization.
Galaxy brain realization.
Watching these episodes. So I saw the little flower in Pam Pam's hair, and I went, that's almost an egg because it's white and it's got a yellow center. And then the next episode, I'm looking at Pam Pam and I go, and her bow looks like ham. And then when she turns into a sandwich, she's got egg, ham, and tomato. I don't know where the tomato comes from, but I was right. Her hair bow is supposed to be ham and egg because she's a sandwich dog.
It's pretty great. Confirmation that they're all going to eat their fairies when they transform. They also, in episode 5, I believe, they added they added a background to the final pose they do when they finish transforming, and I think it's the same image for both Yui and Kokone, but it's like stalks of grain that, become rice or the bread that are their transformations.
So here's what I'm wondering. Rice ball. You eat with one hand, pretty much.
Yeah.
You pick it up and you put it in your mouth. Sandwich, you can eat with 1 or 2 hands. You just pick it up and you put it in your mouth. Ramen, you kind of have to use like a chopsticks or a fork.
Not if it comes in a tube. So what Ram is going to get is her energy fairy turns into sort of like one of those tubes that have like mini M&Ms in them, but it's ramen, and she pops it with her thumb, and then she just downs it.
Shotguns ramen. Oh my gosh. Okay, I was thinking maybe it's like a bowl, and she slurps the fairy up.
Oh, okay.
Because you can slurp noodles.
Yeah, that is actually interesting now that I think about it, because like that also... You can eat a rice ball, it can just be in your hand, unwrapped, as can a sandwich. I mean, you could put it on a plate if you want to. But ramen, you can't really hold in your hand. It splooshes out, It's more liquid than solid.
God, I'm just imagining you. We have a fancy ramen shop in town that I really like, and I'm just imagining Joel going to it and being like, I'm gonna do it just like the PreCure, and he dips his hand in this bowl of scalding broth and like scoops up the noodles and slurps them.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this tagline from James about episode 5. Friendship is the veggie soup we eat along the way.
All right. Do you feel like cooking with me, for example, has brought us closer together as friends? Do you relate to this with Kokone?
I relate to Kokone feeling like she messed up everything that she touched when it comes to cooking. But
Joel made soup last night for dinner and it was amazing.
It tasted good, but there were some close calls. There were moments when I was like, there's no way to salvage this, and it ended up being okay. But no, I mean, I think almost anything can become a bonding experience if you're both open to the idea and you're kind of like communicating your feelings through the thing. But that was just it was a cute scene. Absolutely.
I liked that. I like that Yui's mom seems to be taking an active role in this season. A lot of the times the parents are just sort of there or not there, but her mom is like, I think she's been in every episode at least a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason for that is that a huge part of Yui's character isn't just this love of food, but it's the love of people and how that's expressed through food. And so bonding through cooking with her mom was a big part of her life, and now she's spreading that to Kokone.
Yeah, no, I absolutely like that. And I like that the mom was just absolutely like, oh, do you not know how to slice a carrot? Here, let me show you, and that sort of thing. She's a really nice, supportive mom, and I do really appreciate that. James also really appreciates Ram being denied delicious food as, like, the best ongoing gag. I really just expected her to, like, fall to her knees and shout to the sky at some point.
I want Detective Ram so bad. I want it. I want it to happen. I'm hoping next episode we get it.
Absolutely. I will say, in the episode where she ate ice cream from the cafeteria, so that was episode 4 before Kokone had joined the PreCure team, the ice cream's recipe was not stolen away. So it's not like the girl is starving because everything she touched turns to crap or whatever, starts tasting real bad.
Oh, Ram.
I think I asked this question already, but I really got to ask. So you operate a restaurant, and you specialize in making a certain type of cuisine. You can't make every food or whatever. Let's say hamburgers, right? You make really good hamburgers. You serve them to your customers. They all take a bite, and they all go, this food is disgusting. And you're like, but I made it the same way. You close the restaurant down. That's what's implied in the first episode, that all of the Latin American or Mexican restaurants had been shut down. At what point do you realize that the curse is broken? Do you just make a hamburger the next day? Have these people's lives been ruined? Are they like, I can never make a hamburger again?
I imagine their food was gross for a couple of weeks before they had to shut down.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I am wondering if that's going to be like the mid-season problem that they have to solve, or if that's going to be like when they have to do their group attack is when they decide to rescue all of the recipes that were stolen before they were procured to stop them. Are we ready to move on to crack theories and looking ahead?
Yes, really quick, one other thought James had was Songo could have had a cameo in Pretty Holic. That would have been cute. Speaking of cameos, apparently the Healin' Good Girls made a cameo in the Tropical Rouge movie, and I'm going to have to watch it again because I did not catch them.
No, I have no idea where they were. They certainly weren't in the kingdom when it got turned into zombies or whatever.
They were probably in that end scene when it was flashing to everybody listening to the song.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Moving on to predictions. Now I'm really invested in the title of next week's episode. Can you read it for us? And read it with the proper gravitas, if you will.
Okay, and with the proper punctuation. There's more exclamation marks in this title than there are in most episodes. School? Monster? Panic? Fried prawn gets attacked!
I can't read this episode without thinking of John Ralphio. School, monster, panic, mom. Going to Kokone's house and crashing on her couch because technically I'm homeless.
I want Ram to do something like that and just be like, technically I'm running from the law.
Absolutely.
Oh, I do want to take a moment to remind everyone that at the end of the season, we are going to try very hard to get the community involved in some voting on some awards.
On our awards show.
And one of them is Resident Criminal. And with the third cure on her way in the next couple of episodes, I think we should keep that in mind as she gets introduced, because I think she might be the de facto resident criminal.
So this is the first title to explicitly shout out a food that is getting attacked.
Yeah.
And I just have powerful feelings that this is going to be the final straw for Ram.
Oh, maybe.
I think this is when you're going to get your she falls to the ground and screams moment. She's going to be mad. She's going to be ready to put on her detective hat and solve this crime.
Eventually, you would start to wonder, like, are you actually losing your mind? Like, that's a little bit too deep for a show like PreCure that's aimed at a younger audience, but like, I could absolutely see this messing with Ram.
Yeah,
you know?
she's not losing her mind. She's just got the long COVID, so food is weird.
The long COVID. Oh my gosh. And that's what leads into the Healing Good X the Delicious Party crossover episode.
Absolutely. Earlier in the episode, we did mention we wanted to talk about the school president.
Yes. The school council president.
The school council president has eyes of a very particular color.
Mm-hmm.
And she very much looks like a main character. Like, generally in a PreCure season, you can kind of scan a crowd and you can say, okay, the girls with the brightly colored hair or the weird eyes or the distinctive hair shapes probably going to be main characters.
I was about to say Yui actually breaks that, but I would say that her hair is a little bit more crazy shaped than other characters.
Distinctive. She's got a distinctive silhouette.
But yeah, and the student council president goes up and says, okay, good morning and welcome to the school, which from Japanese media is something that they do before school a lot of the time. And she also has a color motif. The color motif is purple. So I think I thought this thought when I saw her. I was kind of like, hang on a second. But maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm just justifying it. I'm like, oh yeah, I thought that. But we saw a tweet that was talking about, what if this student council president is gentle?
Gentle wears a mask.
Gentle does.
That's all I have to say about that. And I'm also pretty sure, like, her hair is in braids and the president has her hair loose.
Yeah.
So that's another kind of, like, I'm hiding who I really am.
The student council president has, I don't know what you would call them, but she has something in her hair, kind of like on the top of her head. But if she were to put a hat on over that, you wouldn't be able to see it.
Boondaroo! Boondaroo!
Absolutely. And, I mean, Yui's hair goes from brown to pink, so, yeah, I absolutely, this is my theory for now. It never occurred to me to look for their civilian counterparts, but could you imagine if your extracurricular activity was stealing recipes for an evil badger who orders you from the other side of a computer screen?
I will give you a good recommendation to that high school you want to go to if you bring me bread.
Godats actually runs a 5 Michelin star or whatever it's called restaurant culinary school, and you can only get in if you have a reference. That's what caused Gentlu to turn into a villain. Oh, I wish that was our closing thought, but I have just 2 more. I made an O sound earlier, and it was really weird for everyone, and I'm reminding you of that now. So you can rewind
again. You're such an embarrassed little boy.
I am. So I realized, I thought for sure that next episode we would be getting Rand turning into a PreCure. Maybe. But I realized that, her name's not in the episode title. Kokone's name wasn't in the episode where she kind of like formally got introduced to Yui or whatever. But we also didn't see the dragon waking up, the last energy fairy. So I actually don't think episode 6 is going to have Rand's transformation. But again, maybe she'll have a run-in with the other 2 girls, and then episode 7 will be when she actually, like, goes into the rainbow field. I also have a crack theory that I wrote down.
Ready to hear it.
Here's the thing. I wrote it down about a week and a half ago. And I thought for sure that I would remember the details. Part of doing a podcast with someone else is I want some of my jokes to be unheard before I make them so I can get Kat's genuine reaction on mic. I didn't write down the details, and I've now forgotten them.
Oh, dear.
So all I have put is Yusuke will die.
Yes.
And Yusuke is, of course, Yui's childhood friend who's been in every episode, and I don't know why I wrote that down.
So, I think he will jump in front of a truck to save a small child who would have lived anyway.
Oh.
And then, to pay for his life crimes, he'll become a spirit detective fighting alongside the PreCure.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how I feel about him eating his precious animal partner who is named Pooh. You know, maybe this is an alternate timeline. Maybe you'll get a different energy fairy, whatever. But for now, that has been your final thought. outro goes here. Do I put the outro in two-part? I'm going to put the outro here, and hopefully soon we'll have part B uploaded in all of its glory, where we will discuss Sweet PreCure and Max Heart.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and don't forget to rectangle away the impure thoughts. Rectangles, rectangles! Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at PirateGhostHost. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter at Kotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the PreCure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full.